We hear a lot about AI. We hear a lot about the scary things it's doing, as far as altering pictures, creating deep fakes, and doing all kinds of things that are can be quite frightening. But there's also some things that we can use AI for that's very beneficial. And so, what I'm going to share today in this episode is how every DIYer should be leveraging AI in repairs and troubleshooting.
Everyday people working 9 to 5, saving up that money, trying to survive, investing in the future, trying to be wise, through loving money heroes. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Nick Johnson, host of Everyday Money Heroes, and I've reached early retirement. I'm here to provide information on how to obtain financial independence and inspire you through sharing stories of everyday people who are turning knowledge into freedom.
That hustle, always reaching for the sky. We're gonna be money heroes, never gonna shy.
Hello, and welcome to Everyday Money Heroes. We provide information and inspiration to people of all ages to take control of their financial journey. I'm your host, Nick Johnson, and today we're going to discuss using AI as your co-pilot. But first, if you're watching this episode on YouTube, I would ask that you would subscribe, like, and share Everyday Money Heroes. If you are listening to this episode by way of podcast, that you would follow Everyday Money Heroes on your podcast platform of choice. With that being said, let's talk about AI. We hear a lot about AI. We hear a lot about the scary things it's doing, as far as altering pictures, creating deep fakes, and doing all kinds of things that can be quite frightening. But there's also some things that we can use AI for that's very beneficial. And so, what I'm going to share today in this episode is how every DIYer should be leveraging AI in repairs and troubleshooting. Okay. I'm also going to share something that recently happened to me on Mother's Day weekend, which was an issue that I need to resolve because we were having an event over at the house, and we're in Florida. And one thing you can't have in Florida is no AC in an event. And so I'll talk to you about how I leverage AI on how I fix that issue. Okay, so first of all, usually when something happens to us and we're do-it-yourselfers, we tend to try to figure things out. And sometimes, if we've never had exposure to a situation, it's kind of hard for us to troubleshoot it. But the thing is that with AI, it's like having a phone a friend. Or, for instance, I have a friend who's an electrician. And so in the past, if there were issues that I had that was around electrical stuff, I would call him and say, hey, you know what? This is what's happening. And he would kind of give me some guidance, or even he might come by and we'll try to work through it together. But everyone doesn't have a friend like that. And so the good thing about AI is that it gives you a friend for you to be able to ask questions to repeatedly. It does not get frustrated with the number of questions that you ask it. It won't belittle you for not getting it. So AI is a really great resource, and there is a no judgment zone. And so it allows you to not get a concept and to be able to ask it to repackage it or to explain it a different way until it actually clicks for you. Okay. What I'm going to discuss today, you can do with free tools. Okay. I know that there are some, AI models out there that have subscriptions. Everything that, as a matter of fact, I just use the free version of it. And so you don't have to necessarily have a paid version of it. Now, granted, I feel like I'll share the models that I prefer to use, just kind of in general in doing this, but you can use whatever you prefer. It doesn't matter if it's Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, or OpenAI. You can use any of them. You can use the free version of them. But there's a framework that I use and that I've seen others use as far as being able to really get the most out of leveraging AI as your co-pilot. First of all, you have to think about, okay, how am I going to get the best advice? Oftentimes, individuals will go into their models and say, hey, my AC isn't blowing cold. And you'll get some pretty general surface level advice. And so what you want to do is you want to basically give a persona to your AI model. And so what I like to do is no matter whatever it is, you can say, okay, I want you to act as a master mechanic or a veteran HVAC technician. And so basically you want it to really have that mindset when you are presenting your problem in the next prompt. Okay, so that's what you really want to do. So a particular situation I had, um, as I mentioned before, it was a Thursday maybe, and my wife was having a Mother's Day event here at the house, and I realized that the AC wasn't blowing. I would hear the heat pump kick on, but I noticed I didn't feel anything coming out of the vents. And so what I thought it was the blower. But I was like, okay, I just had the blower changed not too long ago, so I really didn't think it was it. So I did have enough know-how when it came to HVAC to go out, use the multimeter and check the capacitors and things like that. So when I checked it, that seemed okay. So I knew that there had to be something else. So what I did is that I decided that I only have really 2 days and I'm a do-it-yourselfer. And so my thing is that if something's broken already, I can maybe make it more broken, but it's already broken. So it's a possibility I could fix it. So I like to try things out. So I went ahead and I started typing in. The model that I decided to use is Gemini. And part of the reason why I use Gemini is that like you can use some other ones. Like for instance, I like Claude, but with the free versions, sometimes you hit your limit. And I haven't had a real situation with Gemini where I've hit a limit on what I'm trying to do. Especially I'm using like the Flash model, whatever. I'm not using like the deep thinking version. So I go through and I tell it to act as a HVAC veteran technician. And then I frame my problem statement. And I tell everything that I see. Just like when you go to the doctor and they say, hey, what's going on? Similar to it. I say, hey, you know what? I've noticed I cut my AC on. I hear my heat pump going outside. Um, but I don't feel anything coming out the vents. Could you, give me some specific steps I can do to troubleshoot, isolate, and identify what the issue is? And that's what I did. So one of the things that it asked me was, did I have a multimeter? I said, yeah, I got a multimeter. But sometimes, I get kind of thrown off with, the AC, DC, all this other stuff. And what it told me to do was to go and like take some readings. Well, first of all, it actually told me to, hey, make sure that the breaker's off and stuff like that. So literally in the steps, it's some things I already knew, but it's really good if this is your first time you've ever done it. You might not know that, you can pull the breaker outside by the heat pump, or you can go into the box, the breaker box, and just flip the breaker, whatever. So it really gave me step by step. One of the things it told me is like, hey, you know what? Let's do the tissue test. Go find a return in your house, put a piece of tissue up to it, and if it doesn't stick, that means that you have no flow going on. It's a good chance that your blower might be out. I'm like, oh, okay. So I go there, I try to put a piece of tissue up there, and sure enough, it's not sticking. I'm like, okay. And so we go through and we get to the point where it isolates the issue as saying, hey, we're pretty sure this is the blower. I'm like, okay. So at this particular point, I have to make a decision. I could call a HVAC company and say, I'm pretty sure it's the blower. Um, how much will you charge me? Typically, they won't do that. And usually, you have the service call and everything else. I was willing to try to fix this myself. So I was all the way in. So I went through, I opened up the air handler. One of the other things I want to also share with you, when you're creating your problem statement, provide as much information as you can for the item with the issue. So for instance, what I did is that I had a label on the side of the air handler and on the air pump. I took pictures of those. I uploaded it. And just one other thing I want to share with you. You're going to leverage pictures and video. Okay. The AI can analyze the pictures and it can analyze the videos. So what I prefer to do is actually take the pictures ahead of time, just upload it. You can actually take the pictures from within the model. Like for instance, Gemini, I don't like doing it that way. I like taking the pictures first and then just uploading. It's my preference. Um, and then when you go and you provide that additional information, it's able to give you better guidance. It's able to say, okay, I see that you have a carrier, 3 ton, da da da. I see this is the year that was made. Sometimes you'll say these models are known for having this particular issue, things like that. And so I opened up the air handler. I went inside. I saw colorful spaghetti. I saw a whole lot of wires. And so what I did, I took out my phone, started taking pictures, uploading them, saying, hey, you know what? I think this is the blower. These are the wires that are now. It was able to explain to me, pull this wire out, do this, do that. It really guided me through the situation. And so I pulled out the blower and I need to get another blower. And so what I did is, since it already knew the model air handler that I had, I said, hey, these are some air handlers that I see that are actually available on Amazon. And so, because keep in mind, this is Thursday, I wanted to see if I could, it's either Wednesday or Thursday. I want to see if I can get the blower here to the house, install it, and get it ready by the event on Saturday. And so I really knew that Amazon was really my best option to be able to get it here quick. And so I went through, I told Gemini to, hey, my model, is this compatible with the motor that I just took out? I took a picture of the old blower motor that was in there. I uploaded it and I said, hey, which ones of these are compatible with my blower? Also, I want you to take into consideration the reviews for the blower that you'll suggest is compatible with my particular brand. Went through, it gave me a suggestion, said, hey, this is good. My blower, I think I paid $190 for like a brand new blower motor for my AC. I know when I had got it changed before, it was still under warranty, and they charged me for labor because they said that the warranty didn't cover labor, just the parts. I think I still had to pay like $400 for labor, not including the parts. And so for me to possibly be able to fix this for $190 plus a couple hours of my time was great. And so I ordered the part. It came back. I walked through the steps of putting in. I said, hey, I'm putting this cord back here, this cord back here. Before I cut the power back on, I took a picture of it, upload, say, hey, does everything check out here? Everything look good? Model told me, yeah. And literally in, I don't know, maybe it's like an hour or so, I had the blower back in. I cut the power on and cold air was coming out. It was a win. I honestly don't think I might have had the courage to do that if I did not have AI as my co-pilot there. So I was able to do it, went through, did everything. And it was a real win for me. It was a confidence booster for me. Wife was happy. Everybody was happy. And so what I'd like to encourage you to do right now is to understand that, first of all, there's a couple steps to this. First of all, we want to make sure that we give it the appropriate persona, whatever you're doing. So if you're working on your car, you want a master mechanic, HVAC, you want a veteran HVAC technician, really, give your model that persona. Next, structure a really good problem statement. Tell it everything that's going on. Upload, whatever, if you find labels on the air handlers. Also, you can take pictures of, like, if you're using your car, give it, you can give VIN numbers. It can look up information based on the VIN numbers. You'll be amazed what it can do. Also, just really walk through it. Once you give the problem statement, ask it for a list of troubleshooting steps that you need to do to resolve it. And then once you come up to something that's highly probable, you can cross-check, whether it is a part that you need to get, cross-check the part, use AI to help research, if it is a quality part based on reviews, and if it's compatible with what you're trying to fix. And so definitely feel free to go through that. I leverage AI all the time right now when it comes to a lot of my do-it-myself things. You can use these free models and you can save yourself a lot of money. And also you can expand your skill set. So at this particular point, before I started that, I had a general idea on how to identify a bad blower, but I didn't really know how to change it. So now I have the ability right now knowing that, hey, I can go through and if I encounter this again, I know I can go through and I can fix it because I've done it already. And so that's what we are trying to do here. It's all about, small, you know, changes incrementally getting us where we want to be. And so basically that was a win for me because I learned something, I expanded my knowledge, saved some money, everything was great. And so when you think about AI, don't just think about, videos and coming up with pictures of kittens. Know that you can actually use it as a co-pilot when it comes to your repairs. I've used that for HVAC. I use it for troubleshooting my cars. So it's tons of things you can do. So if you've ever done it, let me know down in the comments. And if this is giving you the courage to go ahead and do it, or if you've got something around the house right now, you're like, you know what, I just don't know how to fix that. I encourage you, just create a problem statement, give the persona, a few screenshots, information about the item. You'll be surprised what you can do. I don't like multimeters. And I even take pictures of the multimeter and upload it saying, hey, you know what? Do I have this thing set to the right place? So you can do it. I have faith in you. Okay. So with that being said, I'm going to sign off here. As always, I'm your host, Nick Johnson, and I'm going to remind you to trust the process. Have a great day.